It's been said that you can only connect the dots looking backward. But what if you don't like where you've ended up? In order to get what you want in your career, you need to make a plan. And Shellye Archambeau is a planner who's achieved exactly what she's wanted. She's the former CEO of MetricStream and a current board member for multiple Fortune 500 companies.
Shellye, you told me something very interesting. You told me that you've always been a planner. Mm-hmm. Tell us why.
As a young woman of color, growing up in the 60s, right, and 70s, I never believed that the odds were in my favor to get what I wanted out of life. I always felt that if I did what, quote, everybody does, then the result would be the result that everybody has. And when I looked up, there wasn't anybody running companies back then that looked like me. So I thought, I can't just do what everybody else does. I've got to figure out what I need to do to actually increase the odds that I can get what I want out of life.
And yet, here you are. You were the CEO of a tech company in Silicon Valley for over 15 years. You're on the board at Verizon, Nordstrom, just to name a few. How'd you get there?
Here you are, and you're going into like your junior year, and you have the obligatory guidance counselor conversation, right? So you can figure out college and the whole bit. So she starts off normally, so Shellye, what do you want to do with your career? And I said, I'm not sure. And that was true, I wasn't sure.
Right.
She said, well, what do you like to do? And frankly, what I liked to do was run clubs.
So you knew you liked to lead.
I knew I liked to lead, but I didn't know that was a job.
Right.
So that's what I told her. I said, I like this. She goes, oh, well, Shellye, you want to go into business. Business is the same thing. You're just getting together a group of people to go after a common mission to get something done. I'm like, done.
Okay.
I'll go run a business. So I said, okay, fine. I'm going to need real credentials. So I did the research, which is the other step of planning. And I decided I needed to go to the top undergraduate business school, which at the time was Wharton. What was the hot industry? Tech. Just like it is now, but it was tech. So I took computing classes and everything while I was in school so I could go into tech. I got a part-time job at IBM while I was in school and ultimately went with IBM. I spent a little over 14 years at IBM, and I got to the point where there wasn't anyone who looked like me, higher than me in the company.
Okay.
I ran a multi-billion-dollar division over in Asia Pacific. The only thing that happened along the way is IBM just wasn't paying me what I was worth. Now,
so what happens when you have, so you have this plan, you're going to be the CEO.
I've got this plan.
But your plan's not happening.
Right.
What do you do?
So you adjust the plan, not the goal. Not the goal.
Adjust the plan,
Adjust the
not
plan,
the goal.
not the goal. I still want to be CEO. Well, if I'm going to leave IBM, I'm not going to go to another big company.
Right.
Because it's the same learning. I'll just stay at IBM, right?
Right.
So let me take all these things I've learned and go help build a growing company. I said, what I need to do is go take a seat at the table.
Okay.
Of growing companies. So I'm reporting right to the CEO. I sit in board meetings. So I understand what is so different. I first came out of IBM actually as president of Blockbuster.com. Wow. And then after that, my job before CEO was I was running marketing and sales for Ben Horowitz and Mark Andreessen at a company called LoudCloud.
Okay.
And from there I got hired by Kleiner Perkins to be CEO of the predecessor of MetricStream.
When women are looking, let's say they're early in their career and they're looking to set a plan, how might they start?
The first step in setting any plan is figuring out what is the goal. Because if you don't care where you're going, the plan doesn't matter. Because any step is a good step, right? So you have to decide what the goal is. And once you know the goal, then you ask yourself, what has to be true for me to achieve that goal? What has to be true? When I wanted to be a CEO of IBM, I actually started IBM in sales, which my friends thought was nuts.
Right.
You're coming out of Wharton and you're going into sales. Please, right? Everybody's going off to be investment bankers and product managers, and I'm going to sales. But I picked sales because every single CEO of IBM started out in sales. Pick the goal. Yep. What has to be true to achieve it? So do the research and understand it.
Yes.
And then figure out how do you make it true.
And that can change. There's
Absolutely.
lots of different ways to get to something to make something true.
Which is why it's not a matter of creating this rigid plan of, okay, do this step, no matter what. It's not. It is always keeping your eye on what's the goal? What has to be true? How do I make it true? And there's a lot of different ways in which you can do that. In terms of make it true. And things will happen. I mean, come on, there'll be roadblocks, things will happen that'll have to cause you to change, and that's okay. You have to be open to that. Once you figure out how do you make it true, make sure you put in place self-imposed, time-defined steps. So if you don't have things set time defined, what happens is you lose time. You're taking the right step, but you're in the step 6 years. And then what happens is you wake up, you're 38 years old, and you're like, this isn't where I thought I'd be.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Yes.
So you have to set time-defined objectives for yourself. So frankly, use it as a self-check. It makes you actually do something about it. If you're not there when you thought you would be, then you have to do something about it.
Shellye, I'm so happy that I set a plan for you to come on my show because you were an amazing interview.